Hey, what's up? This is Amazin.reacts reacting to a brand new video on my channel. Today's video is titled The Next Star of Shonen. So it's a video talking about Kagurabachi. I am a Kagurabachi stan. I've uploaded one video so far about the series. I love when content creators make content based around Kagurabachi. I love watching it. This is a very interesting manga. Hopefully it will get an anime adaptation coming soon. I thought they were on board with making one, but apparently it been some type of mix up. So who knows? But let's check this video out. I'm dying to hear about Kagurabachi.
2 years ago, Kagurabachi was nothing more than a punchline, an enormous inside joke referencing the
Yeah, it started
absolute
off as a
ridiculous
meme.
state of battle shonen
Off that
discourse
first
agenda, and Shonen Jump's inability to produce
chapter.
new major titles in the face of giants like MHA, JJK, and One Piece, all inevitably close.
And that's what's one thing that stood out about Kagurabachi. I'm trying not to pause it as much. Is even though My Hero Academia and Jujutsu Kaisen, I don't watch One Piece. I don't like read One Piece, but even though those manga were out, and then the new one, Modulo, which I haven't read yet. It's finished, so I will go back and read all of my Modulo. But even with that out, the only thing that I really was looking forward to from Shonen was Kagurabachi.
Up shop. The whole joke was that it looked to be yet another generic edgelord battle shonen that lasts for maybe 12 chapters, then be axed, replaced by yet another generic battle
I
shonen
never
that
heard of
be axed
them.
in
The
12
ones in the
chapters,
trash.
and we'd forget about it. But even back then, as it released its first couple of chapters, I couldn't help but find that there was something super endearing about it.
Nah,
I couldn't
Kagurabachi
help
on
but
the
acknowledge that
way.
underneath its rough
It goes
exterior
from
was the
good
potential
arc
for
to great
something
arc to
much
greatest
greater.
arc.
And I
It
have to
just
admit,
keep
I've
going.
been aiming for some excuse to talk about that potential since then. 2 years later, and here we are. What many had initially written off as a joke proved to be in reality a more interesting,
Like
complicated,
this
and
definitely
heartfelt
next
tale
up
about
since
grief,
a lot of manga are
responsibility, and
ending.
the cost of power. Of course, with quite a bit of blood and darker stylization in there as well. And I have been all for it. And I've been dying to find
He
someone
be
to
aura
express
farmer
this
too, the main
adoration.
character. He ain't on
Well,
Jin
let
Woo
me put it
levels,
like
but he
this.
do be
If
aura
you
farmer.
haven't already, you need to read this manga.
Yeah,
Not
I
because
agree.
it's apparently going to be the next big thing, not to fill any voids left by other recently concluded battle shonen. Read it purely because it's
That's
just
why I started
that
reading it.
good. And if me yelling at you like this hasn't convinced you
To
to at
fill in
least
the void.
consider it, this video exists to give you a feel for what you can expect, and so I can talk to you about the appeal of
It has some
Kagurabachi.
good villains in this too.
Kagurabachi primarily follows Chihiro Rokuhito, son of the greatest swordsmith who ever lived, now taking up the mantle of sword fighter, in order to get revenge on those who took both his father's life and his life's work, the Six Enchanted Blades. Considered to be some of the most powerful,
I need to
most
catch up. All.
dangerous weapons ever created,
Like I never,
enough
I
so
didn't,
that they were near
forgot
single-handedly
that panel, the one
responsible
with
for
him
ending
standing
the
over his
fairly
dead
recent
body.
Seitai War. Using a seventh enchanted blade he and his father quietly smithed in the years after the war, each arc has detailed Chihiro's many skirmishes with people affiliated
This
with
was
the
a good
Hishaku,
arc.
those who killed his father,
What's
while
it?
also often getting
With
involved
the
or
pink
coming into
hair.
conflict with
He was
Japan's
a good
sorcery
villain.
police, the Kamonabi. And often, even the Hishaku itself will get involved in Chihiro's struggles if they really
They
feel
got
the
a
need
nice
to.
little
If
group, even
I'm
though
to
we
be
don't see as
honest so
much
far,
from them, but
Kagurabachi
they
isn't
kind of
the
getting
prettiest piece of
overshadowed
fiction ever
now.
made,
But
or necessarily one of the best shonens ever made. I don't even know if it's one of the best shonens on the market right now, but that's certainly not to downplay its
it
quality.
feel like to
As
me,
basic as its
it's
base premise
definitely
may
killing
sound,
Sakamoto.
we all know that such a summary only
It
goes so
just came
far
and
in
stepped on
expressing
all of
exactly why a
Sakamoto
story works
momentum
as well as it
in
does.
the manga.
Kagurabachi's storytelling strength, so far at least, has primarily been in the development of a set of core key characters. Not to suggest the story itself isn't that good, it's always been pretty good, but it's clear where the focus
Nah, they
actually is.
expanding now.
Up until
I like
recently,
it.
Kagurabachi hasn't been terribly story focused. It's primarily focused on its characters and only a select few. Of course, Chihiro is ground zero in this case. When this manga was first unveiled, I can't imagine any of us were expecting this cold, stone-faced katana-wielding menace to prove himself to have such depth. For that appearance of an edgy loner to be nothing more than a
I am
facade for
interested
a
on how he
lonely
feel
yet
about the current
big-hearted young
events
man
that's going on.
desperate to find
Chihiro.
some meaning in
I
the
want to
loss
see
of
how
his
he thinks
father.
about.
It's
like
a
what's
bit
going
rare
on
in
in
the
the
world
world.
of shonen, but somehow mangaka Hokuzono has consistently found a way to guarantee that Chihiro is the most interesting character in this story by always finding a new approach to his character, to expand on
I
his
don't know.
worldview and
Some
mindset.
Samura
When
had it for a
introduced
little
to
bit
Chihiro, he
as the
fits
most
quite
interesting.
perfectly into the expected role that I imagine many assumed he would upon the reveal of that first piece of promotional art of him drawing his blade with a menacing glare. He's frighteningly stone cold, stone faced, and brutal. One of the first things he says to his companion and to the audience is that he maintains the scar he received as a child so he can wake up every morning with fresh
I
hatred.
know people was
Whenever
talking about
chance the
that
story
too.
gets, it can't help but entirely contrast that image of him that was put in our head. If Chihiro truly believes that he is an agent of pure destruction who lives, eats, and breathes revenge, why does he care enough to take this orphan to multiple separate food places
Because he
because
is the
she was
main character too.
why
That's why I
is it
care.
that he cares so much about Hakuri Sazanami's life, even though when they first met, he has little value to Chihiro's
Sakura,
cause
he
other
cool
than
too.
being a source of information?
I like him as the main
Why is
character.
Chihiro so invested in Yori's
I mean,
relationship with her
as a side
father,
character.
putting himself in her shoes and trying to rationalize her desire to put herself at risk just to remember who he was? Now, this isn't to deny the reality.
And another thing is the concept of his powers revolving around those fish, and it's kind of like theoretical, not just like element based. I love that too.
That Chihiro is very often a warmongering swordsman who brings down justice upon those he deems deserving of his wrath. But the idea that this is all he is, something he initially subscribes to, and as such, so do we, is one that the series challenges. In a way, his fight isn't simply with the Hishaku and their associates, because he's always grappling with himself in that balance between hatred and compassion. Because often a situation doesn't call for fresh hatred, it calls for understanding. The first arc sees him consistently coming to blows with a man who claims
Sojo
to
was a
revere
good one
Chihiro's
too.
father as much as he does, especially the enchanted blades he created. But Chihiro and this man have entirely different views on the whys behind the existence of the enchanted blades. How can they be weapons intended to protect when they're designed to kill? Chihiro, while already grappling with a sense of self-hatred for failing to protect the little girl this man captured, has to understand
I
that
mean,
while
I
his
don't
father and
understand
him
why they
both
just don't
preached
understand they
about
for
the
both.
enchanted blades being created to protect the innocent, both were very well aware that at the end of the day, they were also weapons of war. In the past, my most consistent criticism of Kagurabachi was its commitment to focusing squarely around
I think
Chihiro,
that's
which might
the
sound like an insane critique to throw at any story, but I was
the
worried that this would result in audiences
realization that
becoming
Chiro
bored with the
came
character.
to at the
But in
end of this
hindsight,
battle.
Hokuzono avoids making this hyper-focus on Chihiro repetitive by finding new angles and approaches from arc to arc. From accepting the reality of what his vengeance has turned him into, his
Is it
quest to become a
Hidehiko?
better
I think
sword
that's
fighter
his
upon
name.
realizing that he's pretty much
I
carried
like
by
that
his enchanted blade
EI white
anything,
purity style too.
his desire to change mind about going down a terribly self-destructive path out of guilt. Hokuzono has made it to where there is never a dull moment when we're following Chihiro's story as a character. Of course, as I suggested earlier, while Chihiro is the axis this narrative spins on, he isn't entirely
Man, that
hogging the
group on the
protagonist role
right,
himself.
I don't
By
know
our
what it is.
means, it's
It's
more like
either
we have
left or the
ourselves
right
a
for
set
y'all.
of,
For me, it's
shall
the
I
right.
say,
But man, that
axis
group there,
powers.
I
One
ain't
such
gonna
power
spoil
would be
nothing, but
Hakuri
it's
Sazunami, who's
interesting.
begun to take on the role of deuteragonist the further this story goes along, becoming Chihiro's Sasuke or Killua. Personality-wise, he's actually more in line with your expected
I
shonen
was gonna say
hero,
he more like
bright,
Naruto
bouncy,
or
completely
Gon.
good-hearted. Even if he wasn't such a fascinating character in his own right, his demeanor just
I love
perfectly
his
bounces
power
off of
system
Chihiro,
too. I mean
resulting
his
in a
power,
dynamic
his
between main
sorcery.
characters that I describe as simultaneously fun on a character writing level, but also very sincere on a character exploration level. Hakuri isn't the first to bring out the good in Chihiro, but he definitely shines that light brighter than anyone else could before or after. And likewise,
I
Chihiro
feel
acts
that.
as a beacon of light for Hakuri, his respect and kindness helping Hakuri see the value in himself after years of abuse from his family, resulting in Hakuri having one of the most standout storylines in the manga so far. His emotional journey
Ooh,
to
I don't know
self-worth and
about
the
that.
face of
It's some good
mistreatment and
storylines. His was
misdirection he feels
good,
from his
but
family,
it's some good
finding the strength to
storylines in
stand
there.
up for himself as a person
But
and for
they
his
did
newfound
happen
friends,
after this.
particularly Chihiro, was incredibly striking. And for as basic as that premise is, I promise you it's presented in such a way that led it to becoming the highlight of the second arc. Of course, I'm dancing around the details, but it's so good, I really don't want to spoil it. And I have a similar sentiment for the characters that make up the heart and soul of what has proven to be the best arc in the series so far, Samura and his daughter, Iori. Now,
Yeah.
I really want to avoid dropping any levels of spoilers in this video,
Please
because
don't.
this video is meant to encourage those who haven't already done so to give this story a shot, but truth be told, It's a little hard for me to do so when the
I
subject
ain't
of
gonna lie, I
Samura
thought
and
Samura was
Iori
that
comes
guy.
up.
Like,
The
he
ongoing
is. Don't get
sword-bearer
me wrong,
assassination
but
arc is far and away the best
he ain't no
storyline in
sword saint.
Kagurabachi
That's
so
all I'm gonna
far.
say.
An impressive milestone, given the Raikuzaichi arc was already an incredibly strong arc in its own right. And that's not to mention the strengths of the Sojo arc as well. This arc has a number of strengths that have led it towards that position, but no doubt in my mind, the story of this father and daughter contribute to
His
the
power is
outpouring of love this
crazy.
arc has seen.
Like,
And
I'm not even gonna
unfortunately,
say
it's so
anything about it, but
incredibly
his
well thought
power
out
is
and built
crazy.
up that I really can't bring myself to explain the ins and outs. What I can say is that their story finally brings to surface many suspicions reader would have regarding the true scale of the Seitei War, and the things that we come to learn about it absolutely turn this story onto its head, and allow for some interesting character exploration for those who had experience with the conflict, particularly in the case of the various sword bearers of the Enchanted Blades, in this case, Samura and Uruha, both of whom we still find dealing with the consequences of their actions during said conflict, the weight of responsibility,
Dang,
the
this was
carrying of their
good.
actions, and the
Man, y'all need
city's
to read
downfall
this if y'all
around them.
haven't. This was good.
Iori is yet another conduit for the exploration of the consequences of the
I
war,
want to see how
how it's
she turned
presented
out
to the
too
youth, and
in the
how the
later
aftermath
chapters.
has affected those who've survived, and how those involved have tried to move on.
I don't know
And
if she
similar to
gonna
how Hakuto's
actually.
story arc perfectly bounced off of Chihiro's,
I don't know. I ain't gonna
Iori's
say
arc
because
trying
I
to
hate to talk
reconnect
because
with
I
her
don't want to
father
actually be
actually
spoiled.
helps us gain further insight into Chihiro's character, as he starts to further weigh on his own relationship with his father. So, while rare, when Kagurabachi chooses to focus its point of view outside of exclusively Chihiro, we've been consistently treated to some incredibly fascinating and well-told narratives that manage to strengthen the themes of the story and the story
It's
of the
just
main
in their
character.
bloodline.
And as
It's
I said
clear.
earlier, I actually think it's a huge benefit of the story that it's so tightly focused on only a handful of characters because it allows Hokuzono to flesh out every single one of them with genuine care and detail,
I want
rather than
Hidehiku to
spreading development
train
too
with
thin
Sheba.
across a massive cast. It also does quite a bit for the flow of the story and its pacing. But that does raise the question, if Kagurabachi hyper-focuses on a select number of characters, then what exactly is the story doing with the rest of them? Well, they certainly don't exist just to fill up the story with nameless, unnecessary characters.
Nah,
If
they add to
Chihiro,
each
Hakuti,
character.
Samura, Iori, and other characters in their positions are the axis this story spins on, then you have a wide array of characters whose role is to supplement their characters and their
Now,
journeys. Many
don't
exist
get
to
me
help
started
push
on
the
that
major
group.
characters
Some
through their
of them,
story arcs, something you'd assume would result in a number of
like them
half-baked,
two right there.
nothing-burger
I love
characters
their
that serve
story
that
in this
purpose and then are
latest,
swiftly
not
forgotten
the
about
latest
by the
arc, but the
audience.
arc
But
before this.
actually, the opposite has happened. And this is a result of, firstly, just how well they're integrated into the major characters' story arcs, and secondly, how often these characters are just really fun to have on screen. The first arc really
Even
sets
like
the
the
stage for this
villain
type of
side
character
characters
writing
are
with the
pretty good.
introduction of characters like Char and Sojo. Char essentially acts as Chihiro's morality pet, and is how the audience gets tipped off to his
You know,
kindness
you
side
gotta
towards
save
God.
a young
Despite
girl,
this
if you will,
concept
main
initially
character in
coming off as a
Shonen.
little cliche and predictable, the interactions between these two are very adorable. Chihiro growing out of his murderous, I don't give a fuck personality and becoming this big brother figure who chastises himself for at first not taking her seriously and later failing to keep her safe. And Char just being very sympathetic and absolutely precious anytime she's on screen. Kagurabachi would become home to so many incredible moments of action and character writing, and yet I still
I might go
maintain
back and
that
read
by
some of
far
these
one of my
chapters.
favorite and most
Now
heartfelt
to
moments
seeing
the
this,
story ever delivered
at least
was
the
when
fighting
Chihiro
parts,
rescued Char and
they
immediately
got some
offered
good
her a
battles in there.
sandwich with a smile on his face. In strong contrast to when he shopped her around town to get food and all he was thinking about was how he was going to extract information out of her. But then you have a character like Sojo, who by all means is responsible, well, alongside the wave of Fujoshis that came in when Hakuti was introduced, for the series' early success after the fake hype died down. And that popularity wasn't for no reason.
Some
He's
people,
the character who
some
earned
people say the introduction of him as the first like villain, the main villain, was what kept the story going because he was an interesting main villain. Just the concept that his perspective when he brought it to the main character, and then to hear the main character kind of like combat it with his view on how things should be was really good. And I think that dynamic is really what kept the story going enough for them to actually start taking it serious.
early in the series, Chihiro butts heads over regarding the essence of the Enchanted Blades, being a wielder of one of them himself and a self-admitted fan of Chihiro's dad. He's the one who forces Chihiro to reconsider his perspective on his father's teachings,
Yeah,
helping him recognize that even if Kunishige
I
wasn't
want
to
to see
blame,
him back in the
his life's
manga
work
too.
was very much responsible for the suffering of many. Even if ideologically and morally they are on opposite sides of this conflict, Chihiro can't help but tip his hat at the man and acknowledge that no matter how he may feel about Sojo, the Blade still chose him as his wielder, and he should respect his perspective and take that into account going forwards. Sojo is crucial both for furthering our understanding of Chihiro as a character, as well as our understanding of the Enchanted Blades, as he becomes the wielder of Mei
Goated
early on
scene
and
right
wields
here.
it with deadly
Or
efficiency
panel.
throughout his conflict with Chihiro. And it's these elements to his character that helped endear him to audiences over the course of the first story arc. Now, another excellent character who fits this bill is introduced immediately into the following arc, the fan favorite Hiyuki.
Yeah, he.
While she does have a story arc in the form of her deciding that
I
protecting the
do
people
want
being
to see
sold
more
to
of her
the
too.
Rakuzachi means more to her than her job as a Kaminabi agent, much of
I
the
really
work
want to
she
get her
makes comes
background
purely
and why her
because she's
sorcery is.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, why her sorcery is so
Literally
strong.
upon introduction, she blew people away purely on her awesome bonfire moveset, her fittingly fiery persona, and insane cool factor. I really don't have much to say about her because she's someone who, in my eyes, has always very much spoken for themselves as a character. Her dynamic with Chihiro being the hot-headed opposition to his cool-headed calmness was incredibly welcome during the climax of the second arc, and honestly, I was under the impression that these two, alongside Hakuri, would become a sort of trio in the same vein as Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, or Itadori, Megumin, and Kugisaki. Alas, we haven't seen
I did
Yuki
think
in
that
like
too.
a year now. Here's hoping she'll return soon. I can't imagine what she's up to right now. Starting from this
Fingers
current arc,
crossed.
we've seen an enormous flood in
Now, everybody in here, demon. Like they all be on time. I like each and every one of these characters, and I want to hear a backstory for all three of them. Well, the one on top on the motorcycle, I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of good on her, but the rest of them, I want to see their backstories, learn more about their fighting styles, everything.
type of character.
Two of them
Finish
villains.
without
One of them
major
is a
character
good guy.
arcs who help develop our main cast or otherwise fill in the ranks of the side cast and get to look cool while doing so. This includes the ranks of the Masumi,
Like the Masumi are okay.
Samura,
I
and
like
eventually
them,
Chihiro.
but I ain't just
My favorite
interested
is
in them
Sumi,
like
and
that.
it's honestly because I adore badass women wearing badass suits. Also, she rides a motorcycle, which is makes her even cooler.
Yeah,
Ro
she
is
is
also
cool,
really funny though.
but I ain't
Ro's
really
like
heard about them.
22, but he looks 10. Though suppose I don't really have much room to talk because people
I like
still
them being like
mistake me as middle
Chihiro
schooler, even
bodyguards.
though I am also 22. The Kamunabi has introduced us to characters such as Natsuki, who gives us more insight into their role in the same
He
team,
another
and
one,
how
man.
to
I want to
defend
hear
those
his
who we're
story,
somewhat close to.
which they kind of
His
give us a little
one-sided
bit of
rivalry
his,
with Uruha is very funny, but also a means for interesting character.
but I know he got a bigger story.
Then
Probably.
there's Kitty, who gives us insight into the White Purity style. It's a sword style that Chihiro begins learning
I don't know
during
if
the
she give
Sword
us
Bearer assassination
insight
arc,
into it because I
believing
don't
it to
think
have
she
some
knows it.
benefits he can utilize in the coming battle. So Kitty's role is to help explain some of the details to us, since she is the granddaughter of its creator. Though she
Yeah, but I don't think he taught her because he said he didn't want her to wield the sword. Her style is different from theirs. I don't even think she can do the white purity style with that sword. How's she gonna unsheath it fast enough?
isn't exactly a huge fan of the man, given he's an enormous sexist who believes women can't wield swords, which leaves her wielding the biggest one she can get her hands on, who she names Oni-chan.
And
Now, despite her role,
it
she
don't
attaches
hinder
an
her
enormous
at all
amount of
having a sword
personality
that
to all
big.
of her actions, and thus has become pretty popular. This also goes for the Hishaku, the main antagonist group, as they're entirely made up of
The
incredible.
Hishaku so far is kind of hit and miss. Some of them are like peak villainy, but some of them are like, I don't know. I don't know yet. I haven't seen it exactly enough of 'em. Like you see some doing a lot, and then you see some just kind of like in the
Standout characters.
background.
Characters like the leader, Yudo, or Hokuto, have been very popular
Yeah,
due to
like them
sheer
two.
charisma,
Yeah,
or Toto, who has
they
proven
had a
pretty
good fighting
popular
scene
primarily
too.
for being the only sane person in the group. My personal favorite might just be Udon because, well, reasons. But if we're
Bro, you got a
talking
type.
perhaps the most fascinating of the bunch,
It
it's
gotta
most
be
certainly Hirohiko,
Hidehiko.
who was introduced as a foil
Yes.
to Chihiro early into the third arc. Hirohiko
The only thing is, like when you read it, I kind of can see the comparison. Like people will make, well, you can't see the comparison. People will make it to Mahito, but I ain't gonna lie, man. Hidehiko, you'll see he's his own type of person. He's this different from anybody in the show, though. I like him. He's good.
is interesting. When introduced, I and many others wrote him off as a knockoff of Mahito.
I just said
Sadistic,
that.
creepy yet playful, cool-headed, but underneath that veil of simplistic familiarity lies the potential for something much greater, and I think Kagurabachi fans are finally
Yeah, especially when
catching
he
on
has
to the insane
backstory.
future this character might have. When we're introduced to him, he's absolutely obsessed with this idea that he and Chihiro are one and the same, that Chihiro is somebody that only he can truly understand, somebody only he can truly call a friend. It's that assessment, one which he pushes onto Chihiro over and over, that leads Chihiro to conclude that he is a monster. just like Hirohiko and those he colludes
That was
with.
a crazy
But while our
scene.
attention is focused on the effects
Or
he's
that,
having on
or at its
Chihiro,
best.
Hokuzono is finding all of these avenues to explore Hirohiko, and painting a vivid picture of a young man desperate to
His
make
fighting
connections.
style is
It's a
crazy
very
too.
twisted idea as to how he should go about doing so.
Like
It
he got a
primarily
crazy
results
fighting
in him
style with his
coming into
sword,
conflict with
Hidehiko though.
Chihiro as part of his method of going about forming that connection is to prove his capabilities. Of course, this has led to a pretty nasty losing streak, but it's
Oh
also
no, don't
helped
put the
endear
lose
him to
streak
an
on there.
audience
That's
who was
spoiler.
initially incredibly apathetic, and many suspect that in coming arcs he will prove to become a larger threat, further energized to prove himself to Chihiro as the only person who can understand him. So
I'm
this
being when it comes to Hidehiko, I don't know how they're gonna do it, but I do kind of wish he would wield an enchanted blade and kind of join the good guys. Like I don't know how they can spin it in the story. Maybe something in his backstory could give him a redeeming quality. But I do kind of want to see him wield the enchanted blade and kind of join Chihiro. But I don't know if that's I doubt that'll happen, but I do want to see it.
Despite the fact that Kagurabachi has been pretty low-key about its cast, mostly letting them take a backseat role in favor of developing a select few characters instead of building a larger cast, what little we have been given shows quite a
Keep
bit of
yawning.
promise, and this current arc's heavy focus on introducing us to large swaths of characters has shown that Hokuzono is capable of scaling things up when the time calls for it. And when he does, he is also more than capable of providing us with some interesting and enjoyable characters. So, I've spent the past 3 days trying to figure out how to transition out of this segment into my next one, and today I finally given up. So, who wants to talk about aura and hype moments? I feel in this modern landscape of shonen manga, everyone is trying to inject some sort of style into their works to punctuate their differences from their contemporaries.
Yeah,
It's led to this current
that's
generation
understandable
feeling
though.
the most distinct from the style many of us expected from
I need
shonen
to
as
catch
recent
up on
years 10
Hell's
years ago.
Paradise.
What I think Kagurabachi brings to the table is a style reminiscent of Hollywood action movies. Guys like Tarantino.
There is this one scene, well, one panel in Kagurabachi when uh a character, I ain't gonna say the names, I don't want to spoil them, but she is looking through like a peep, like the door hole to see who's like outside. She was looking through it, and they did the visuals of Chihiro fighting. So it was so dope. I love that. But that's probably my favorite panel out of all of it.
Films like John Wick, you can see that style of
Yeah, you can
high
see all of
octane,
that in this
unnecessarily
manga,
and unashamedly
and
cheap
you'll know
style
whenever it
all over
happens. You'll see what we're
Kagurabachi.
talking about,
And while I
or what
certainly
I'm
could
talking
leave
about.
this
Oh, and
discussion
him
at
too.
"it looks cool, therefore you should all read it," I actually think it goes a bit deeper than this. I've been throwing around this idea for
That's
a
all I
number of
need.
months now,
If it
where I
look
talk
cool,
about a
read it.
phenomenon from One Piece, which I believe was absolutely critical for its success and its high-quality storytelling. You know when, like, light hits a prism, and it causes a smaller light ray to jet into a much larger, more colorful light ray. One Piece arcs, I feel, build and build and build their stories, but then instead of the story simply jumping from point A to point B, you hit point A and a half. A significant, emotionally decisive moment happens that pushes the story into point B that gets audiences significantly more invested because that moment hits home the reason we
I
should
think he
care.
talking about
I'm
Samora
talking about
and his
scenes such as
daughter,
the Arlong Park Walk. I want to live. Will you still
and
call me your
Kagurabachi.
friend? These moments are like prisms that reflect light, amplifying the emotions of what came before. I feel like Kagurabachi is similar, but not necessarily for the story, more so for its paneling. Whenever a fight is happening, Hokuzono has an eye for crafting panels that punctuate the action like
Yeah, like this
exclamation
one.
marks. My
Oh,
favorite
them
recent
falling
example
in the
is the four-way
elevator.
brawl between
Oh,
two
I
members
don't
of the
that
Hishaku
move. I don't want people to
Kamiagami.
see all of
Insanely
this.
cool
You
action
just gotta watch it
sequence,
to see. But
capped
it
off
is a
by this
lot of good fights in here.
insanely raw-ass panel of
I ain't gonna lie, and he was going for a moment. Like he was having some good fights. Just like this fight, of course, is amazing. But it was some more fights too. But
all the
yeah,
combatants just standing there, all battered, bloodied, and just taking in the current situation. This is all over Kagurabachi, and it works because it
and
ensures
this
the story
fight was going
always
on at the
peaks in
same
ways
time
that
as
feel
that
both
last one.
emotionally charged and visually unforgettable, keeping readers hooked beyond just the plot. And I could be here all day on this subject. There's so many great scenes. Kagurabachi has been very fascinating to see develop, going from a pretty inoffensive new manga release at an unusually huge boom period for the medium of Japanese animation, only known for its JPEG of its main character drawing a sword, to a manga able to draw people in with its amazing fight scenes and
At least it
cool
lived up
panels
to
that
the hype,
keep them
because
reading
you
with its
rarely
character
see that.
development while simultaneously commenting on things
I feel
such
like
as the
it
death
more
of
than
the
lived up
author
to the
or
hype.
Japanese war crimes. I could probably go further about the themes of this story too, because there's a lot of interesting meta commentary at play in this manga, but I've never really been a themes person, so I'd rather let someone else handle that subject for me. Really, I just wanted to try to pitch this series as best I could to an audience unfamiliar with this story, because I really think this is a story worth your investment. And if all the rumors are true about an inevitable anime adaptation by the same studio responsible for the horse racing girl anime that looked way better than it has any right looking, we may very well be
Oh, okay.
looking
So
at
they
one of
are
the
making an
defining
anime.
animes of the
I heard
2020s
they
right
were,
now,
but then some people said
jumping
they
up there
weren't. I
alongside
don't know.
Jujutsu
Or
Kaisen
like the
and Demon
company
Slayer.
got
But honestly,
bankrupt or something
even if
like that, or
Kagurabachi
changed or
never gets
something
an
like that.
anime and remains niche forever, I'd still be here saying the same thing. This manga is absolutely worth your time.
Yes, I agree. I second that. But yes, if you saw my last video, you know how much I love Kagurabachi. But yes, this manga has been getting better and better with each one. Then it just raised the bar with with a flashback chapter, which I ain't gonna get too much into it because I don't want to spoil. But it just continues to get better, and I hope you guys decide to check it out. So if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. And don't forget, read Kagurabachi.